Hi everyone and welcome along. Today we're going to paint some mistletoe. So grab your paints and let's get started. Right, so we're going to paint some mistletoe and I'm going to show you how to create a lovely bunch of it without sort of getting too bogged down by lots of layers and things. So the colour I want to create for the mistletoe, it's a funny one. It's a slightly yellowy green, but then I also think it's got a bit of turquoise in it. It's just a very fresh, vibrant green. So I like to mix in, for me, some Sap Green, green gold and Cobalt Turquoise, just to get a green that is slightly zestier than my regular Sap Green. Now I am going to use a size 2 brush to begin, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint in a very dilute layer of mistletoe to begin with. So as you can see, I'm just adding water to my mix and I'm going to go straight in, no pencil, and I'm going to start at the top. And the mistletoe stem is a funny one. I think we all think we know what mistletoe looks like, and then it's always a bit surprising when you come to actually paint it. It's a bit like if someone asks you to paint a bicycle, can you actually remember, just from memory, how it all fits together? And I feel the same about mistletoe. So you can see there's a lot of sort of zigzag going on and splitting off into different angles. Well, you can see it sort of splits into two, splits into two, splits into two, and then when you come to finding a leaf, then it also splits into two. And I'm just going to use the belly of the brush and bring it gradually into the fine point, a bit like propellers of a sycamore or a helicopter. But in this nice, fairly dilute layer, we can just get the simple shape, and I'm just going to overlap here. And I'm just going to let that layer dry. That layer is lovely and dry now, so we're going to layer up a second sprig of mistletoe, still in this nice translucent and dilute concentration, and I'm looking to just fill up the space with more mistletoe leaves. So each time you paint a stem, just know that you're going to be finishing it off with a pair of mistletoe leaves. Some people prefer to start with the fine point there and then come down and sort of create their leaf in a few brush strokes. So we're going to have one coming off over here. So you can see just filling the space. Whereas some people prefer the first method I taught you of starting with the belly of the brush and coming up that way. You get a slightly more organic feel to the leaves with starting with the belly of the brush and working to the fine point. But it's the beauty of watercolour, it's very much down to you what you prefer. So you can see in doing this, we are just gently layering up, but because we're doing such a nice dilute colour, there's not too much sort of heaviness, and we can see nice sort of bits of air and space. So this is really lovely. I'm going to let this dry one more time and then we will work in a little bit more detail. I've mixed up some more concentrated version of the colour because we are now, for our third layer and our top layer, we're going to paint in with a bit more concentration and more detail, and we can start adding the berries and yeah, just a whole lot more. So the first thing to note is I'm going to paint a stem in, and I'm using a slightly smaller brush, but I am now painting in much more detail, and I want to make sure that I have a little gap here because I'm going to paint in a little ribbon. So I'm just going to bring that down, and then I'm going to stop there and begin again just a few millimeters down. So I'm going to be painting this mistletoe stem firstly with size 0 brush, so we've gone down a size, but also you can see I'm painting it not just in one sort of solid line. I'm using sort of the little bit of unpainted space in the middle there to create just a little bit of highlight and depth. So we'll start by just setting out the directions of our mistletoe, and I think we might add one more coming in from there. It's like painting a lot of wishbones. That slight curve, a bit of an S curve coming out from each branch here. Lovely, and now I'll use my larger brush once again to paint in the leaves. Now we've got a lovely cluster of mistletoe, it's time to start adding in the details and the all-important berries. Yellow ochre is fantastic to create that just slight golden colour of the mistletoe berries, and with my size 0 brush I'm going to paint in a little circle with an unpainted space, little sort of bit of whiteness there to help with the shine. And really it's up to you whether you want to paint in a berry or two. We can just pop in another one there for the sake of aesthetics. Or you could be painting in just the little bud, which with a bit of sort of green gold we can just pop in just a little bud like that. There we go, where it hasn't quite grown yet. And even on your more dilute layers behind, you can still paint in a berry or two. I think that works absolutely fine. I choose to make mine just a little bit fainter. There we go. We can pop in some, I think I stuck my hand in there. There we go. Just colour that in. It's the only trouble, isn't it, when you're painting up lots of layers? And I do have a habit of sticking my hand into my painting by mistake. So yeah, just looking for any of the little intersections. These are all places where a berry can grow. And if you want, you can pop in two. And that's really lovely. So whilst I wait for that to dry, I mixed up some Sap Green with a little bit, just a little bit of French Ultramarine blue to add some sort of slightly shadowy detail to the stems that are more concentrated. So as well as that lovely highlight we've got from creating the unpainted space, I'm also interested in giving some of our leaves just a little low light like that. And also where we have a sort of overlap, this can just help. And I'm just doing this on the more concentrated layers, just to really help them stand out a bit more. So yeah, I'm just going to go through and find places for a bit of a low light. How lovely does that look with that little bit of darkness just added in? And then the last thing you can do for little details is just add a little dot to your berries. And I think I'll just pop that on the ones that are in the foreground. And now we're just going to paint a nice red ribbon around the top. So, whoops, I might change my water over because that's very green. So I've just got some cadmium red here. And I am going to start with my size 0 brush and see how I get on. Remember, I didn't paint in too heavily there, so I can just get a nice little band of colour going there, and then using the thickness of the brush to get that nice thick and thin of the ribbon. And if you want to just tidy that up, you can just go back in. But I quite like the simplicity of that. Make that one a bit thicker. Lovely. And then we will just pop in. Was carefully deciding to sort of look for the areas there where there wasn't a heavy green bit of mistletoe. And there you go, a really nice quick way to paint a bunch of mistletoe. Thanks so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed that one. I've got a whole Christmas playlist if you're looking for some more festive inspiration. I want to say a massive thank you to my patrons for their support, because that support enables us to keep creating videos just like this that everyone can enjoy. And if you enjoyed it, then hit the like button and comment below to let me know how you're getting on. And if you never want to miss another video, hit the subscribe button and that little notification bell. Until next time, bye!